This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish, founder of Abish Financial Services.
A lot of firms out there say they will do tax planning, say they will do Social Security planning and RMD planning, and typically they just do investment management. They want your money.
You've worked hard your whole life to earn and save. Now you need a plan to make that money work hard for you.
Where do you stand today with your retirement accounts, with your insurance, with Social Security, RMDs, taxes, all of it? This is how we need to think. We need to think outside of the box on these matters.
Abe is here to help you unlock the keys to your retirement.
We are in the full throes of the holiday season, Abe. And
yes, we are.
Enjoying all of the... I've already overindulged in the treats. We were talking just before Thanksgiving. You were saying you have to have that canned cranberry sauce on the Thanksgiving table.
Yep.
What are Christmas and or New Year's treats of choice, top picks?
Well, my mom has made this killer fudge like since we were little kids. I mean, if you've had fudge like at these candy places and everything, throw that out. My mom's fudge will crush your fudge. It is so good.
Wow.
It is so good. She'd make it for like a lot of people in the church and just friends and family and everything. So that stuff's pretty darn good. She also makes these, they're like these, magic cookie bars, chocolate chips in them, coconut, and like this graham cracker type of crust. So, oh my gosh. Those are delicious as well.
Yeah. To the tall girl with the blonde hair over here.
Yeah, all you need is one of those, like a piece of each, and like you're done. So
that's
good.
It.
I also love pecan pie. I'm a pecan pie fan. So those are some of the things I like to see on the sweet side.
Yeah.
As far as savory goes, my father-in-law has been doing this beef Wellington, like this filet mignon beef Wellington the last couple of years.
He makes it himself?
Dynamite. Yep.
That's
makes it himself.
not easy to prepare.
It takes a long time to do do and everything that goes into it, but it is tasty. Wow. It's darn good. So that's something that we kind of look forward to on Christmas Day.
Okay. Well, I didn't hear a bit about fruitcake there in that conversation.
Yeah. Fruitcake's okay. We'll talk about that.
That's the thing. I did want to bring it up because it's interesting how we can always tie almost any subject matter back to what it is that you work on there at Abish Financial Services, Abe, and the idea of how the often dreaded holiday fruitcake can also be parlayed into one particular retirement planning area. We can even work fruitcake into the conversation. I don't think I've ever eaten fruitcake my entire life. Have you ever even tried it?
Yeah, there was a lady in the church we grew up in that made, I would say, some pretty darn good fruitcake.
Wow.
It's not chocolate fudge or magic cookie bars, but it was a pretty good fruitcake.
All right.
I'll always remember that.
You heard it here first. Abe Abish, he will turn his nose up at store-bought fudge, but maybe we'll try some fruitcake if you feel like dropping it by the Abish Financial Services offices.
That's right.
We're going to talk about that fruitcake story coming up, but before we get to that, I wanted to talk to you about the idea that we can't seem to talk enough about taxes and what we all need to be preparing for as far as taxes in the future, because when you retire, at some point, you're going to start collecting Social Security, but you might be surprised to learn that you're probably going to have to pay some of that money back to the man himself, Mr. Uncle Sam, in the form of taxes. In fact, over the next decade, retirees are actually expected to pay $650 billion in taxes on their Social Security benefits. Abe, didn't we already pay taxes on this money while we were working? What's up with this?
Yes, we did, Heather. And when Social Security was first born, those first checks there for a long time were free of tax-free. And, Social Security check and your pension, that's all you needed. That's what paid the bills for most people. Ida Mae Fuller, I believe that was the lady who received the first Social Security check. And so, today, taxes on Social Security account for about 3 or 4% of total revenue. By 2029, they will account for over 6% of our country's tax revenue in 2029, not too far off. The taxation of benefits is expected to become Social Security's second leading source of revenue. A lot of people see it, Heather, as double taxation.
Yeah.
When taxes started on Social Security benefits in 1984, it only affected 1 in 10 households. Today, around half of all senior households are paying some sort of tax on their Social Security income benefits. And we all should know that depending on what your total income is, that will mean for how much tax, is taken out of your Social Security checks. If you're married filing jointly and your total income is over $44,000, then 85% of your Social Security benefit check will be taxed at your ordinary income tax rate. If you're single and your total income in retirement is $34,000 or more, then 85% of your check is taxed at your ordinary income tax rate. So, we have to take all this into consideration. Taxes for most people in this DC metro area in retirement are and is going to be our biggest expense. And we can't ignore how taxes will play a part and impact in our retirement plan. We just had a couple call into our show, Heather. They live in Fairfax, Virginia. They have done an incredible job of accumulating $4 million saved.
Wow.
And both were federal government employees, believe it or not, with large pensions, but also large TSPs because they were big time savers. A lot of money outside of the TSPs as well at Vanguard and Schwab and a few other places, Merrill Lynch. One of their main problems is that they are very low risk takers. They are conservative, but that was really hurting their portfolio when we did an analysis for them. So they came in with $4 million saved and accumulated. Fantastic. But $2.2 million of their $4 million we found out was in the G fund, was in the F fund, and was in other bond funds, for the most part paying and yielding about 1%. And when they really found out what they're earning, and really, negative returns on over half of their portfolio when you factored inflation, they were really unhappy because they didn't know about other alternatives that existed outside of the TSP and existed outside of the custodians that they had their dollars with. Hence, they came in for a complimentary consultation and complimentary comparison as to what they have saved, where the monies are invested, and their options outside of where they have their dollars. A complimentary comparison. So they've done a fantastic job. Hey, they saved and have accumulated $4 million on their own, just hard workers, diligent about saving and maxing out their accounts. That amount of money isn't the problem. The problems for them are everything that our callers call into the show for, that they're concerned about. Abe and the team, what's going to happen if inflation continues at the pace it's on, or even half of the pace it's on? Abe and the team, what's going to happen if and when taxes go up? How is that going to impact my retirement income? How is that going to impact the dollars I'll pass on my wife, my husband, my children? What is their tax consequence going to be? What are some things that we can do, Abe and the team, to protect, preserve, maximize, leverage, insulate our retirement plan from all of the things that can mess this up? Because, guys, we've worked so hard to get here, and we don't want to be burned by something that can come up and take a lot of this money away. So one of the solutions, Heather, quite simply, is we had to find some alternatives to get at least half of their nest egg out of, these instruments yielding about 1%. Not even keeping up with inflation. Their return on that part of the portfolio was negative. So we suggested bond alternatives to keep up with the safety that they enjoy, but also increase their yield potential. We implemented a comprehensive plan. We helped them with account consolidation because really, they had a good idea of what they had, but with accounts all over the place, we actually helped them to discover about $300,000 to $400,000 that they didn't realize they had.
Wow.
Because their accounts were all over the place.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. When you have $4 million, you have a pretty good idea of what you have, but they forgot about a couple of variable annuities that they just put off to the side that were with Transamerica, and they totaled almost $400,000.
Wow.
So that was a pretty nice surprise.
All right, so we were talking just a few minutes ago about the idea of our favorite holiday traditions. It's perhaps, though, the most maligned food of the holiday season. We're talking about the fruitcake, the one made with the candied or dried fruits, nuts and spices, and sometimes soaked in spirits. Like brandy, it was actually fodder of jokes on the old Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon.
Did you ever get a fruitcake for Christmas?
Always. I got one this Christmas.
Do you eat it?
No.
See, that's
Too fattening.
That's the damnedest thing.
Yeah.
Nobody eats them.
You keep it for a long time.
You put it up in the closet somewhere, and then you wait till next Christmas and you to somebody else.
And they weigh a ton. They're very heavy.
It's the perfect white elephant gift if you're going to one of those parties this holiday season. Many home bakers insist that the only ones who truly hate fruitcake probably have never even really tried it. And the same can perhaps be said for an annuity. This is an insurance product that you utilize there at Abish Financial Services. While so many recoil at the word annuity, do they really understand how it works to guarantee income in retirement years? Abe, what's your experience?
Yeah, Heather, most people don't truly understand how they work. And the reason why is because a lot of big-time mass marketers would just say, all annuities stink. But come on, do all annuities really stink? No way. It's just like anything else. Anything has a pro and a con. All investments have good and bad. I'll tell you, there are some horrible annuities out there, and we stay far away from them. Mm-hmm. And there are also some really good ones that can act as a bond, treasury, cash, money market substitute. Why? Because on cash, treasuries, money markets, and a lot of bonds right now, they're paying next to nothing, maybe 0 to 2%. And then if we were to charge you a fee on any of those dollars and you're making 1, if we're charging you 1 and you're making 1, you're earning 0.
Right.
And then when you factor in inflation, you're negative. So we can't justify doing that. So on our clients' safer part of the portfolios where we can truly provide principal protections, help them to preserve principal long-term, give them some decent yield potential, maybe in between the 3% to 6% range. I'll tell you, Heather, there's not a lot out there in the financial universe right now that can offer those types of things. So that's how and why we will implement the right types of annuities, a lot of times fixed or fixed indexed annuities in the portfolio to truly act as the bond substitute and temporary replacement. Because again, I'll pick on Vanguard. We love Vanguard, but if you go and Google the Vanguard bond ETF right now, the 30-day SEC yield is 1.5, I think. I mean, it's, in most of these bonds, as we do the analyses on these portfolios for our clients, we find out that they're paying today maybe somewhere between 1.3 to 2.2. Again, you factor in inflation and you're pretty much negative. So, yes, most people kind of think that annuities all work the same way, Heather, where you turn over a lump sum of money to the insurance company and then they just pay you a monthly income for the rest of your life. Some work like that. I would say most don't work like that.
Okay.
So we use the right types of annuities, again, as the safer part or hedge of the portfolio for principal protection, good yield potential. What does that do? It helps take the pressure off of the stock and equity side of our portfolio. It helps also, Heather, to truly build a fully globally diversified portfolio with less risk when you add in instruments like that into a retirement plan, for example, as bond alternatives. And what we're really looking to do, Heather, for our clients is avoid the next devastating market crash from wiping out our clients' life savings.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit retirementkeyradio.com and join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 2 p.m. on WMAL.
Patrick Volk is an investment advisor representative of J. Hagan Capital, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Abraham Abish and Patrick Volk are licensed in your state, please call 571-577-9968. Abish Financial Services is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Abraham Abish or Patrick Volk. NPN number 770-3575 and NPN number 727-978.